It's going to be Warlock versus Shaman here. StrifeCro coming out with that Shaman, and Trump going to be playing this aggro lock. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and,
this is a really awkward opening hand.
Yeah, but also, man, think about this for StrifeCro. We talked about how important Lightning Storm is. He only has the one in the deck, but at the same time, he does have the double Harvest Golem. He does have the double Yeti. So he has a strong early minions. He's not as dependent on Lightning Storm, which is important because he's not probably going to draw it.
Right. This really awkward hand, by the way, has turned into a really great hand. When I said really awkward, what I more so meant if that was his final hand.
Yeah.
Him having 2 Soulfires in his opening hand is actually a benefit because he's able to mulligan them and he won't pick them back up again off the mulligans. So he can assure that he has a smoother start because he'll be drawing early game minions more on average.
Now, I'm probably going to see. Do you think the Blood Imp and the Voidwalker, or do you think the Blood Imp and the Squire, or do you just think?
This is.
Or do you think you save it and you coin? Okay, no.
This is sort of a weird spot to be in. I'd like the Voidwalker here. Again, we were touching on how Voidwalker forces out these 1-mana 3-damage spells, while Rockbiter's such a critical draw right now because he wants to play this Harvest Golem on 3, and if he had the Lightning Bolt, he wouldn't have been able to do that. So these Voidwalkers force Rockbiters from the opponents. So that helps extend.
Oh, he's going to do both, man. He's going to Lightning Bolt, and that's what I was going to touch on. Is perhaps he wanted to clear that out because he does have 2 sitting in his hand, so kind of has to do something. But this does put him in an awkward turn 3. Turn 3, really all he can do is, unless he draws into something really nice here, which he doesn't, he's basically going to have to totem unless he wants to overload again. I mean, overloading again at this point isn't bad because you can still play the Harvest Golem on turn 4. So I think since you Lightning Bolt on turn 2, you have to Lightning Bolt on turn 3. He's going to go for that. Makes sense.
Right. Again, showing what I was talking about. He likes to fight heavily for this board presence, and so these 2 Lightning Bolts and these Rockbiters help him do that. But Trump is now, he's got 5 points of damage on the board.
And I mean, he's going to play the Golem here now, and then it's going to be an Argus, man, coming out. This is kind of like pretty rough.
This is one of those Zoo starts where second Doomguard's an awkward draw, but this is one of those Zoo starts where it almost doesn't matter what you do as the other player. Zoo just is Zoo. It's just going to punch, and it's going to punch a lot harder than you are, and it's kind of hard to overcome. Now in this spot, I would love to see him just attack the face. There's no reason to attack this Harvest Golem. You sacrifice a shield, it deals 4 damage, and you sacrifice 7 damage for this. 7 damage is a quarter of your opponent's life total at this point. I don't see myself personally ever attacking this Harvest Golem here, because even something like Defender of Argus isn't very threatening. And what is he going to follow up with on 4 mana that you're worried about? I don't think it's anything. So I'd love to see him attack the face, and that's exactly what he does. This is a testament to how much he's been practicing these matchups, is because even though this play seems really obvious, he's going to take his time and think about it anyway.
So probably just going to see the Azure Drake drop down here. I mean, you could go with the Yeti, but may as well do the Drake, followed up by the Element in the next one. It's a pretty obvious play here, but really, it's awkward. What do you even do with his Harvest Golem? And like we talked about, he only has the 1 Lightning Storm, so very low chance of him actually drawing that. He does have a very nice couple next turns, so as long as he can somehow stabilize, start kind of stemming the bleeding a little bit, then you can take control. But it's just a question, do you think he can actually get to that point with a potential of a Doomguard? I mean, do you even play the Doomguard here, or do you think you just go Dark Iron Dwarf because you don't want to discard the other Doomguard plus the Dark Iron Dwarf?
I think you could have gotten to this point last turn, but there's 2 different ways he can play this. The first one is he can play this Doomguard and go for the face.
He has 13 damage if he does that. That puts him at 7 next turn.
So he can go for the face here and discard his whole hand, or he can use his Dark Iron Dwarf and get rid of this Azure Drake, which I don't think he anticipates his opponent's only playing 1 Lightning Storm. So I think it'd be hard-pressed for him not to play this Dark Iron Dwarf and take out this Azure Drake, which is threatening your entire board if you do that. But again, he's going to take his time and think about it. This is a tough spot to be in, I think, if you're Trump. Even though your board's position is looking really good, both of these lines take drastically different turns depending on what your opponent has. So this is one of those spots where I think making a safe play is better because you get blown out potentially by Lightning Storm.
So yeah, spell power is so frightening against a Shaman, and even people ignoring a spell power totem can be a critical mistake. And he is going to start trading now, so he's going to be able to take that out, clear the board, and I mean now you're going to see the Fire Alley come down, clear the 4/3. Pretty much has to be, which is honestly very nice value from that Fire Alley here for StrifeCro. But at the same time, the worst thing that can happen, I always feel, when I put down that Fire Alley, is if it gets Doomguarded. It's always so sad, but do you think he Doomguards this here, or do you think he leaves it? Because if you Doomguard it, it lives with 1 HP. It's so annoying. And I think you almost have to Doomguard it. But I mean, do you go face?
I think you just go face. He's got to put him in Soulfire range too. So both of your Soulfires now are lethal at this point, and he still has to deal with his board. I like it. I think Trump might have missed 3 points of damage last turn by attacking that Harvest Golem instead. But he's hedging his bets against Earthshock when he does that. So not a bad play by any means. But now on StrifeCro's side of the board, man, I don't know if you pull out of this one. This Argent Squire can help pull some weight, but outside of that, you're just kind of dead to everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways you could do this. You can obviously take out the 3/1, then you get Argent Commander, but that leaves you dead, so you have to use the Defender of Argus. So, I mean, do you think you just Argent Squire, Totem, Defender of Argus, and attack the 6/5 and the 3/1?
I think that's what you have to do. I don't think there's any other option this turn.
Well, and the Healing Stream is kind of nice, but I don't think it actually makes a difference here. But now the question, do you taunt up the Fire Alley, or do you taunt up the Healing Stream and the Squire?
I think you have to taunt up the Fire Elemental because you have to keep damage on your opponent's side of the board. But I just could be wrong.
Well, I think the Argent Squire and the Fire Alley is definitely a good choice there. I mean, it means you have to put 2 sources of damage into that 2/2, plus the Fire Alley being there is going to eliminate something, especially because it buffs it up. That means you don't get the free kill with the Doom card.
So now this is one of those spots where Shaman may be able to take control of this game. Yeah. You're going to see potentially this Doomguard die. And oh my gosh, there's Lightning Storm. I don't know if it's enough right now because he doesn't have a strong follow-up with it.
I feel like you just Argent Commander and you Totem. I don't think there's really, I mean, you could do that, but what does it really even accomplish?
God, this is a tough position.
I mean, you could Azure Drake and do it, but at the same time, you're still going to have to attack into that Doomguard, right? Like, and you have 1 less minion on the board, and you're overloading yourself for next turn. So, I mean, you could obviously do that. You can Azure Drake and you can Lightning Storm. If you get the high roll,
I like leading with Azure Drake.
Then you can do. Okay, well that doesn't help him. I mean, I feel like he has Lightning Storm now.
He's certainly gonna have to Lightning Storm. It's how he follows up.
He really wants that.
If he rolls high on that
needs,
Harvest Golem,
yeah.
this could potentially change the entire outcome.
Oh, he doesn't get it.
That's a brutal spot to be in. So he's going to have to leave back this Argent Squire and hope that his opponent doesn't have a way to clear this, and hope that his opponent doesn't draw Soulfire for like the next 8 cards, because he's still got to kill him after all this is said and done too. So,
well, I mean, he kills the Doomguard, and like, I mean, he knows that one of the other Doomguards is gone. But if he draws the Leroy, there's lots of ways he could kill him. He doesn't know what he has and doesn't have. So, I mean, Arcane Golem could kill him, a Leroy could kill him, a Soulfire could kill him. There's a lot of ways he could die here. We'll see if he's going to get any of them. No good draws here.
Yeah, so this is one of those spots where this is sort of the weakness of Zoo, is once you get to this spot, you're relying on top decks, but the idea is that your deck is so dense with them that it doesn't often matter that you're relying on them. But now you're in this spot, he's overloaded, the overload is extremely critical here. How do you actually deal with this board position? He's got to have 2 sources of damage on the Argent Squire, but he's also got to take out the Harvest Golem, because this Defender of Argus is going to remain untouched this game. I don't know.
There's actually nothing you can do.
I don't think there's anything you can do to win this game.
I mean, you only have 2 sources of damage. You need 3. You need 3 sources of damage to be able to stay alive.
He has to roll a Taunt Totem to stay alive.
Yeah, that's his only chance. And he's going to probably, and then you have to just go Yeti, Squire, and hope for a Taunt Totem. That's your only chance, because even if you Argent Commander the 3/2, you attack into the 2/2, the shield comes off, but it's still there. You still have 4 damage on the board. Only chance is getting a Stoneclaw Totem. So, I mean, he's going to come to that conclusion here pretty soon. And then he's just got to drop Yeti, Squire, and pray to the Lords. And does he get it? He does not get it. That's game.
That's going to be game over to Trump. Again, I like Trump's play this game. Put his opponent at 4 life with sort of a YOLO-ish play.
Yeah.
And that's, in my opinion, that's the biggest value you can get, is when you have these dense draws in your deck that just kill your opponent. Because what's happening is your opponent is struggling to deal with your board the whole way through, so your minions just all have taunt for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Even when they don't actually have taunt, your opponent has to clear them. So in addition to having 2 Soulfires be direct